Hey all, welcome to my very first YouTube video on my new channel. Here I'll be talking about everything to do with wildlife photography. We'll be looking at hints and tips, talking about how I get certain shots, looking at some of my work, and yeah, interacting with you guys and seeing where this goes, really. I'm going to try and get into the habit of making a video maybe once a week. Because let's be honest, if there's one thing the internet is lacking, it is another guy sat in his living room talking to a camera. So this film today is going to be a little bit like a video diary, just talking about some of my most recent shots. Some of you may have seen these on my socials. If not, check out my socials and you'll see them. They won't all be on there. Just talking maybe 3 or 4 just to discuss what I like about these shots, what I didn't like about these shots, how I went about getting them. Yeah, just a bit more insight, bit extra depth. Double thumbs up. Who does a double thumbs up? Jeez. I promise these videos will get better over time. This is just the first one, so who knows? The last few months I've spent back in the UK, seeing friends and family and taking that time to do a bit of wildlife photography as well. There was a place that I've wanted to shoot for a very long time called Bempton Cliffs. It's an RSPB reserve and I highly recommend going there if you've not been before. Great for your seabirds, especially this time of year, springtime, spring in the UK that is. Great for your gannets, your guillemots, your razorbills and puffins as well. Lets you get really close to the birds as they're all just nesting on the cliffs below you, which is fantastic. The bird that I was most looking forward to photographing was the gannets. They're an absolute favourite of mine. I probably say that about every bird though. But I just find them beautiful. I just really love the way they dive down into the water, and I've been so keen for a long time now to get some photos of them nesting, getting a little bit closer to the action. Normally I see them from boats or from a cliff when they're far out at sea fishing. So this was a really good opportunity for me to get some lovely close portraits and things. So we'll just jump straight in and I'll get talking about my first photo, one that I was really proud of, one that I very much wanted to get. It was been in my head for a long time, is to get an extreme close-up of a gannet. To get this shot here, the birds were landing on the top of the cliff, actually collecting vegetation at the time, and I was stood just by the fence, just where they were landing, and they were very brave. I was really surprised actually. I thought the human presence would spook them, but no, they were very comfortable, and more kept landing, and as I was stood there, which was fantastic. So I was able to get this extreme close-up of the gannet. What I really love about this shot is the detail of the beak. It's kind of got that cracking there, which kind of makes you question how it got it, what's the story behind that, which I really love in a photo. You've obviously got the wonderful detail in the eye. That beautiful blue eye is really hypnotic and draws you in, which is superb. And just the gentle colours. Although it's a predominantly white bird, you've got a bit of that yellow on the head there, which is nice, with the raindrops as well. It was a really miserable day, as so often is for an English summer, which was nice. It meant the cliffs were very empty. There weren't that many people around. The day before I'd got there and it was heaving. It was so many photographers and bird watchers, which is lovely. It's lovely to interact with everyone, but I really like to do my photography solo. It just means you don't get the same shots as other people. You can just take your time and spend a bit more time, and you're not going to spook the birds as well, which is so important. Because of the white plumage of this bird, I was able to lower my exposure a little bit, stop it down one, so that I exposed really well for the whites. And it meant that I got the black background, which is a really nice contrast, gives a really clean look to the image, makes it a little bit more arty, which I quite like. And the background was just the sea below, so yeah, it was already quite a dark contrast anyway, so it didn't take much, and it meant I didn't have to do much post-processing, which I'm a big fan of. yeah, all in all, as I say, I was very happy with this image. It's one that I wanted in my head, and I was very relieved when I was able to get it. My second shot is quite a similar shot in terms of the style. It's again a bit of it. Well, it is a close-up. It's a portrait. It's just showing a little bit more behavior and a little bit more of the bird. Again, done in the same way, with lowering the exposure to get that darker background and exposing correctly for the white feathers, especially down on that lower right-hand corner there. But what I wanted in this was a bit of the preening. You can just see a bit of the feather being ruffled by the beak there, which I really love. And to me, whenever I'm photographing a new species or a subject that maybe I don't do so regularly, that I'm not going to get the chance to come across again, I always try and make sure I get 3 types of shots. So that's either a portrait or an extreme close-up of the animal to really just identify what the animal is. The second is a bit of behavior, which I'll go on to next. And then the third is a habitat shot. So it shows the bird in the environment, which again is going to be one of the other photos I'm going to show. To make this image engaging for the audience, for you, for me, I wanted to get as eye level as possible. Normally when you're at Bumpton Cliffs, you're shooting down, you're shooting on the cliffs, looking down at their nesting colonies. As I say, these birds were up getting some vegetation from the top of the cliff. That did mean, however, there was actually a lot of vegetation in front of them. So getting in between blades of grass, getting a really nice clean shot was quite difficult. And especially for this preening one, the extreme close-up was relatively easy in terms of time. This one, I had to wait for several birds to come in, land, several different attempts at getting a preening shot, because they were doing it up there, so I knew that behavior was occurring. It was just getting one where there was no grass in the way, and that involved a lot of patience, just moving and waiting, and there was quite a few missed shots where I thought I'd really nailed it and then just one blade of grass somewhere. I'm not a big fan of removing bits of grass and things post. I'll do it very, very rarely, but yeah, no. So, and especially for this, when you're using such I use a 1:500 lens. Any bits of grass, you're just going to get a bit of softness for the subject, which isn't ideal. My third image that I'm going to show you is, I don't know what this hand is. The third image that I'm going to show you is the behavioural shot that I was just talking about. It's really nice. It's a breeding interaction, a bit of courtship behaviour going on there. You've got one of the gannets had just arrived back onto where they were nesting, and this was a greeting that was going on. So they were just sort of welcoming each other, saying, they're the right partner. I don't know. I don't speak bird, but that's what I'm presuming was going on there. And it was lovely. So the issue with this shot was that I was slightly looking down, so I'm not as eye level as I would have liked to be. But overall, I think it works quite nicely. It's a bit of a messy crop, but I actually think I quite enjoy it. I quite enjoy the balance between the black and the white background with the wing on the left and the black background going behind. Again, you've got that eye which is drawing you in the middle on that second bird, which I really like. And yeah, so I was very happy with this one. The third shot I'm going to show you, I don't know if I posted on my socials, I probably should have checked that, but is the gannets on the cliff edge. Here you've got them all in a nice line. There was a little gap running along the bottom of the cliff, which several of them had used for nesting. So I took the shot. As you can see, it's in black and white. I wanted the contrast to be quite high. Again, the light wasn't very good the days that I was there. The rain was quite heavy, which made for some interesting photography, but it did also make some of the shots I wanted slightly more challenging. But I was pretty happy with this. What I really like about this one is the S shape in the line, and I find that quite satisfying to look at. And I know this won't be everyone's cup of tea. My partner doesn't particularly like it. But I am quite a big fan. I like the detail you've got in the cliff. It kind of makes you question what's going on a little bit. You have to take a moment to look at it, and I think that's quite good. I think that engages the audience nicely. You do have a few, you can see some kittiwakes there as well on the top left. I've not so I've done this in post. I have left the gametes slightly whiter. I've kept them slightly more exposed, just because that's really what draws your eye, and that's where I want that the audience's eye to be going. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this. The bottom right, as you can see, is a little bit lower down the cliff, and actually because of that there's more vegetation. It's slightly different rock type. I don't know, I'm no geologist, but it was just interesting that patch was slightly darker, and again just makes a bit more of a balanced photo in my opinion. If I'm totally honest, I would have liked some more habitat shots. I know I'm just showing you one here. I was there for 2 days, and I didn't get as many as I would like, and I think that was again partly because of where you were situated on the cliffs. The photos in my head I wasn't quite able to get, and I think that's okay. It's good not to always come away with your shot. Obviously you always, you know, you're always after the shot, but sometimes you've got to tell yourself it's okay, you can come back, you can try again. That's what I tell myself anyway. Yeah, so as I say, this is my first video in what will hopefully become a regular feature, just putting out more content. I'll be doing a bit more vlogging style. I know this is probably a bit dry and a bit sit still, but I'll be getting out into the field, talking about a bit more behind the scenes, looking at how I approach certain subjects, certain angles, and yeah, thanks for watching. Who knows how long this will stay up for. Stop with the double thumbs, that's so bad.